Okay, it's 6:30. I'd like to call our regular scheduled meeting to order. Summer, if you'd call roll.
Commissioner Blevins?
Here.
Commissioner Norwood?
Here.
Commissioner Siragusa?
Here.
Commissioner Roberts?
Here.
Commissioner Stallings?
Here.
Commissioner Orr?
Here.
And Mayor Mason.
Here. Our invocation this evening will be by Mark McAdow, and our flag salute will be Commissioner Siragusa.
If you would, please join me for prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank and praise you for the changing seasons in our lives. As the seasons change at your command, may we continue to change and grow in our responsiveness to you. Thank you for those who have been placed in authority over us in our city government, police and fire departments, area schools, and faithful churches. Help us to express our sincere appreciation to all those who faithfully serve as to the citizens of Enid. Our Mayor, David Mason, City Manager, Gerald Gilbert, as well as our designated and distinguished Council of Ward Commissioners and city employees. They give their time, energy, life experiences to help us all. May we all seek your wisdom first for the decisions before us tonight. We're most thankful for this community and all our businesses and nonprofit organizations who work together for our common good. May Enid be a city like the one Jesus described. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they place it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father who is in heaven. May we always honor you first in this city. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
3.1, consider approval of minutes of the regular commission meeting of September the 7th, 2023, and the special commission meeting of September the 13th, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote. 7-0. Item number 4, awards, presentations, proclamations, and organizational business. Item 4.1, present pet available for adoption at the city's Animal Welfare Department.
So tonight I have Erie. She is a 2 to 3 year old pit bull mix. She's a very petite girl. This is big as she's going to get. She's fantastic at riding in the truck. She just loads herself up. She's super friendly. She's cat friendly. She's dog friendly. And I think she wants to go home with Justin. But she's a really fantastic dog. She's quiet at the shelter. She's probably one of the best dogs that we have out there. She's been here for about 2 weeks now, and she's just ready for a home.
Thank you. Item 4.2, recognize City of Enid Employee of the Month for September.
Again, this is one of the most enjoyable things I do. Tatum, would you come on up? And Michael, come on up too. And David. And Tatum, I've grown to know very well over the course of his time at the City of Enid. He's currently the manager at the landfill and foreman. He does a fantastic job. See, I think of you as the manager. He's also, another role that he fulfills is he is the Ask Me president. And so we meet frequently, about weekly, and talk about labor management issues. So He is a great employee for the city of Enid. He solves all kinds of problems, and you see all kinds of things at the landfill. So I thought I would let David and Michael talk about how wonderful you are.
Well, I was just going to bring up that a lot of people aren't aware all that went on when we had the fire. A lot of people smelled the fire. Our fire department was out there, and we had support from essentially, county staff. But the fire was going on, and Tatum was out there at one time on a piece of equipment, making a fire break, moving debris around, closing one cell, opening another one, while at the same time being on the radio, directing other people, while at the same time being very close to a fire that was causing other piles to spontaneously combust, and being worried that his pieces of equipment were going to melt, but still working on the fire. And just a great thing, and that fire burnt for, what, a month? Yeah. A month. People don't realize it burned that long, and he was out there managing it every day. At the same time, we have the state come in, and our inspections are for the most part flawless. We have people coming in from other parts of the state asking us how we do what we do. So him and his staff are in large part the reason of that. And the other side of that, he is just a good person. He comes in and he always has a great attitude, regardless of what his day is like. I think on my first week of job, he gave me a bro hug, and it made life really great. So he has a great attitude, great worker, and he does make the city amazing on one of those things that a lot of people don't think about.
Michael, come on up, because I know Tatum's done several things. One of them, he used to work fixing water leaks in the city. And looking out in the audience, I don't see too many of you that have fixed water leaks in the city. It always happens in the middle of the night, or when it's really cold, or when it's really hot. And so he used to do that, and I think he was thrilled to have the opportunity at the landfill, because although he deals with trash and waste all the time, I think maybe that schedule works better for you. But I think Michael tried to get you back, but you found a home. So.
Still got that position open. I worked with Tatum for about 10 years in water, and I can say from everybody that I've worked with in all this time, Tatum is one of the hardest workers I've ever worked with. I don't know too much about what he does at the landfill anymore, but he is one of the hardest workers that the city has.
Yeah, and Tatum's going to talk to us. He's a man of few words, but he can talk too. And I will say he is a hard worker, but he's low drama. And so I wish I could say that about everybody, because not everybody is low drama. So come on up, Tatum, and I want to give you this, but tell everybody, make us laugh. And thank you for being the employee.
Well, first of all, I got to thank my wife. She keeps me in line, keeps me straight, and always pushes me to do better, think bigger. I got to thank all the employees at the landfill, all the solid waste team. It definitely takes a team to do what we do. You guys may not realize all that we do, but it's quite a bit. I want to thank all you guys back here for all the new machinery, everything we got, so it wouldn't be possible without all that. So again, thank you guys.
Tell us about that new wood chipper before we let you go.
It's amazing. Yeah, it gets it done. We can knock huge piles down, and I mean half the time as what the other.
But we don't need another ice storm.
No, we don't need no other ice storm. If we do, we may need another chipper. So.
Overtime.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. You're a great employee. We're glad you're on the team, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, sir.
Item 4.3, approve the appointment of Brian Salih, a member of the Enid Fire Department, to be the Fire Civil Service Commission, to serve as the Assistant Secretary of said commission in the absence of the Secretary.
Carol, do you want to speak to that, or you want me to speak to it, or Mark,
Sure.
or you want to speak to it? We probably need to introduce
speak to it,
Mark.
sure.
Mark is the new Assistant
Yes.
Fire Chief. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. So Chief Courier gave you your first assignment
He
to come
did.
in
I'm
here and
glad to be
explain
here
this to
tonight. He
you.
had another engagement, so he's off doing his thing, and he sent me over here. So the Assistant Secretary for the Fire Civil Service Commission is a new position we'd like to appoint. We have, of course, a current secretary, but the workload is kind of big. We'd like to have an assistant so that he could share in the workload, so that he could learn the position in the absence of the secretary, and that at some point take over that should one of them decide they wanted to promote or to sit in front of the commission themselves. So that's the purpose of it, and I think that you guys have investigated and decided that it was okay, and
Yes. The impetus is that there is going to be a hearing, and the secretary will need to recuse. And so we need an appointment, and the thought was we should just have someone, we shouldn't have to delay someone's due process while we're asking for you guys to appoint someone. But we will not have the assistant and the secretary make 6. It's just to serve when when he is on vacation, sick, or recused because he's a witness.
it would not be adding another vote
Yes.
to the commission.
Okay.
So it's still a commission of 5, is that what it is?
Yes.
Are there any questions? I'm sorry.
I'll move to approve.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Please cast your vote. Passes 7-0. Item number 5. 5.1, update on the beautification efforts on the city entryways.
This project, thank you, Scott, for talking about it, but I did want to mention this is a specific project that we've needed to take on. Commissioner Orr, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. I think in the month that we've been on this project, with Tiffany Tingler as the lead property inspector, I've seen significant results, but I want to show some pictures, and I hope you guys have been out and about, because if you haven't, you need to get out and about. I was on Chestnut and Randolph today. I think there's been progress made there, but tell us about all the progress.
Yeah, as you can see here, we've got a map kind of showing the main corridors. You've got O&K and Van Buren, Chestnut and Randolph are other corridors that will be keeping an eye on. Kind of more, these are the beautification where we want to pay our attention to. The program goes over the mowing, edging, the entryways. Going to be maintained by all of our property inspectors, but headed up by, of course, Tiffany here. And then we are hiring a new property inspector. We have picked that one, and we're just waiting for him to get onboarded. Here is O&K Garriott, along, as you can see by the railroad tracks here. This is before. This is what it looked like before. A couple of these slides are where the weeds have grown up and have not been maintained. You can see the sidewalk where the grass has just been blowing to. And then you get to, these are the after photos. And I hope you all can plainly see the difference in these, and how you can even see along the curb where there's no grass in the street, because the contractors that we have hired are blowing it back into the grass to keep it from clogging up our storm sewers. Thank you, Marley. Here's Van Buren, same thing. You can see these are the before. Got a lot of weeds that have just grown up between it, getting high. Here's some after photos where they've been cleaned up, edged. There's some that you can actually see the dirt ring almost a foot out where they had cut that back. Our total budget is $100,000 so far. We spent 18 on Van Buren, almost 25 on Garriott. So we still have a lot here. We are currently got Garland, I believe. We've gotten Garland bidded out. They'll start on Garland next. And then after Garland, we'll move to Chestnut and start cleaning up those ditches and everything. And that is, again, the map.
And let's just take a moment too. Some of this is, you could say, a city responsibility. Some of it is individual property owner responsibilities. So in an effort to make a difference and get this done, we're using some of this money to pay a contractor, but we're also going to be sending them notes.
Yes, we'll be
In
sending
some
out
cases,
letters.
they'll be encouraging notes. Well, really, they're all kind of encouraging, because instead of just citing them with a violation, we're looking to tell them that, we're trying to show them what the standard is,
Right.
and then tell them this is what we expect in the future. And so what I hope from you guys to help support this is that when you get calls from your constituents to say, hey, that's not my responsibility, I hope, whether it is or isn't, I hope you could ask your constituent to lift a finger to help their city. It kind of goes along with being a friend of the city. Stop asking the city what we can do for you and tell us what you can do for us. And so in this case, we are trying to clean things up. I noticed Randolph was looking a lot better. I got a feeling that wasn't a coincidence.
That's what I was just gonna ask. How many letters did you send out on Randolph between 16th and 30th?
Well, we haven't really sent out letters yet. We were
Right.
doing the first
Or-
one, like it's
or
like,
did you
we're gonna
go-
make this pretty. We
Or
can
did you
get
go
this
door
done.
to door there? Because I've noticed a lot of hustling in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I have houses that are being painted and everything else. I was like, I wonder how much that this had to do with it, because I
Hopefully-
drive that section 7 days a week, and I just noticed that it's flowing down the street, that people are really starting to pick up.
And that's a lot of the intent is, you know, the idea is if we can build the pride on the corridors, they kind of outflow into the city to where more maintain all over the city. You know, you talk about already flowing to Randolph. I don't think we've done anything active to get there, but just the pretty builds pretty. That's kind of,
Okay, that's why I was,
yeah.
because it's like I said, I've noticed a lot more activity than I ever have in that little section, and it's like, did we push that, or?
We have not done anything active over there yet.
Well, and I think our intent is to make this a sustainable effort going forward. So what that means is that we've adjusted, or almost adjusted staffing levels.
Yep.
But we're also looking at the resource level. And so we'll see through this experience, this fiscal year with this 100,000, how far that goes and whether we need more or less or how that works. I imagine we're going to need those funds in the future to be able to sustain this effort. And then hopefully over time, like you've mentioned, Commissioner, you've seen people, either they've been energized or they've been concerned about getting a letter or whatever it is. I think we'll have that effect on at least some people.
Also, speaking to that, I've had a couple of people turn around, are we gonna do a pickup this year? Limbs, stuff like that?
We don't have it planned, but certainly something we can look at. And we'll remind all residents they get 12 free visits to the landfill, and for only $20, you can have stuff picked up at the curb. But we can certainly look at what you're talking about, free cleanups. In fact, Tatum's not the exact guy, but David Hunter is with Tim Stevens, as we might look at that.
And if we push a neighborhood cleanup, I think it would be a good idea. That might help with
You
some
bet. I
of
know
those
there's
residents.
several of you that have participated in neighborhood cleanups in several of the wards, so that is, again, showing fantastic leadership for the city.
I do have a question. Is it a violation for commercial lawn care businesses that cut grass just to leave it out in the middle of the street?
Not allowed to blow it into the street.
Okay.
The problem is catching that. So if you do see it, call us. We can go out and sign them.
Okay, because I've taken pictures of it. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, if you let us know, be aware of those, we can address it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that the contract mowers that we have been very well trained. Turn that chute to the inside, do not put it in the street. I will tell you, I've gotten a few complaints, and I think I've received a few from some commissioners about drainage ditches that have gotten full. One of the ways that drainage ditches get full is people throw their grass clippings in it. And so we would appreciate if they wouldn't, but sometimes they do. So, good point, Commissioner.
Well, it took 15 years for that one to fill up.
Well, the one I'm talking about specifically is over on Hoover,
Okay.
Commissioner, and I know there's a specific constituent that you have that we've tried to do some cleaning, and if you look at the person that lives to the east of her, it looks like a golf course out
I
there.
think her issue was that when we went out there to clean it up, city employees cut down trees so that they could mow, but then 2 weeks later, the tree limbs were still there, so.
It's challenging, and hopefully we've addressed, I know I've been out there and we have been through there and mowed, and the ditch has been cleaned out. So we have a whole lot of residents, and I kind of talk about we have to share the love with all of them. So it's a difficult thing, as you know, but we're making a great effort. This, I think, is making a difference. So I know I've seen it. I hope that you do, and I hope that your constituents do.
Yeah, thanks everybody for approving that money. And I go from one side of town to another on Willow, so maybe some point, really Willow from 81 over to 30th Street's really bad, especially between Grand and 30th Street. Really bad. Weeds growing up and in the island and on the sides. So hopefully we can take a look at that eventually at some point and get that.
Yeah, we'd like to get this map cleaned up, but you're exactly right. Willow would be probably the next thing to pick up all the way across town.
There's a bunch of cones on Willow that need to come up too, if you could go get those in the morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the sign of progress eventually, and I guess when the cones go away, that means we're finished, right?
Thank y'all.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you. 5.2, consider an ordinance amending the Enid Municipal Code 2014, Title 7, Public Ways and Property, Chapter 9, Community Antenna Television System, to provide for the granting of a non-exclusive permit to the cable operator for the operation of the cable system by the addition of a new Article 1 to be entitled Seabridge, then in brackets, Suddenlink Optima, CATV permitting, adding Section 7-91-1 definitions, Section 7-91-2 grant a permit, Section 7-1-3 build out the requirements, Section 7-91-4 terms of acceptance, providing for 10-year term, Section 7-91-5 favored nation clause, Section 7-91-6 change of law, Section 7-91-7 renewal of permit and notice, Section 7-91-8 standard of service, Section 7-91-9 permit fee, Section 7-91-10 rates and charges, Section 7-91-11 sell and transfer permit, Section 7-91-12 compliance and monitoring, Section 7-1-13 insurance and indemnification, bonds and surety, Section 7-91-14 public government and education access, Section 7-91-15 emergency alert, Section 7-91-16 preemption, providing for repealers, saving clause, codification, and servitability.
Wow. Yes. August 15th, we had a hearing, public hearing, and I don't think there was anyone who came to complain or talk about it, which I think probably is because there's a bit of competition, and also because Suddenlink or Optimum is doing a better job and has their office back open and stuff. At any rate, this is exactly the same permit that Blue Peak has, other than, for the most part, Suddenlink or Optimum is already built out. So the building out requirements in 7-9I3, it doesn't make any difference, but would only be applicable as new developments occur in Enid, and I think there will be a few new developments. So that will come into play fairly soon, I think. At any rate, that's it. We have the attorney for Optimum or Seabridge or Suddenlink here to talk, but, and answer any questions if you have questions.
I make a motion, we approve it.
Rob, before we do, I've got one individual that signed up, wants to speak on this.
You can speak on it. I still make a motion to approve it.
Okay. Jason Reese.
He's the attorney.
He's the
I'm
attorney.
Jason Reese. I was just making
okay.
myself available, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, all right, I thought you signed up to talk. Okay,
Second that motion?
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please cast your vote. 7-0, motion passes. Item number 6, consent. 6.1, approval of claims in the amount of $3,264,805.08.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Item number 7, recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. All trustees of the Enid Municipal Authority are present. Item number 9.1, consider waiving the finance procedures manual and approve the sole source purchase of components and upgrades for the AMI water meter system through June 30th, 2024 from Core and Main, LP Street, St. Louis, Missouri, in the amount not to exceed $500,000.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, this is a budgeted item that we have in our capital expenditures. We have a budgeted item for $600,000. This is a blanket purchase order that we would like so that throughout the year we can buy the water meters that we need for the city and make any AMI upgrades.
This is the same company we purchased the last years from, and we've used the money for the same purpose?
Since
It's the same
2011.
meters.
Yes, sir.
Move to approve.
I have a question. I can't open mine up.
There you go.
Okay. Just one question. Thank you.
Yeah.
On the small print, I just had a quick question when I was looking at this last night. On the small print of it, dealing with the financing part of it, it says, unless otherwise specified herein, prices quoted are valid if accepted by customer and products are released by customer for manufacture within 30 days. I got that part of it. Calendar days from the date of this quotation. Core Main LP reserves the rights to increase prices to address factors. Can you kind of help me with that? Because are they going to be allowed to increase prices depending on?
So they've given us a quote that lasts for a certain time period, and one of the things that they've built into their quote, which is advantageous for us, is because we've been a customer of theirs, through this process, as we are upgrading our water meters to this new frequency of data collectors that we have, we are collecting all of the old meters that we pick up and give those back to them. And so they're giving us an actually discounted price from what they normally would charge so that they can get those brass, well, it's not really, it's an alloy core back, and it has some value to them. They can take those cores and put them back through their furnace and create more meter bodies with that material. So they've given us a very less than retail price for these meters, so it's a good deal.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Scott.
Okay.
I'll still move to approve.
No, I need a second.
I'll second.
We have a second. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote. 7-0. Item 9.2, approval of claims in the amount of $223,904.33.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Motion passes 7-0. Item number 10, adjourn and convene as the Enid Public Transportation Authority. Item number 11, all trustees are present for the Enid Public Transportation regular meeting. Item 12.1, approval of claims in the amount of $5,582.71.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Item number 13, adjourn to reconvene as the Enid City Commission. Item number 14, public comment. I have one person signed up now. Tanya McMichael, McMichael, I'm sorry. Public comment, would you hold your comment to 1 minute, please?
1 minute? Yeah, I can probably do that. I'm nervous, so. I live immediately adjacent to 615 Westmore. And I didn't get to make the meeting last night. Were you there?
Yes.
The NIPC meeting. I do have concerns. I've voiced them to Mr. Gilbert. They weren't mentioned. They are still the density, the setbacks, drainage, privacy fencing. The traffic study that was done for it was done before school started. So the real, I mean, that's 2 months out of the year that, you know, it's a lot busier when school's in session. So hopefully, in the drainage, in 2008 and 2021, you did the stormwater drainage study. It said in there that it needs to have a more in-depth study for Westmore, and it still hasn't been done. And it's all put on the property at the very corner there. And so that's a concern. But for 5 months, we've dealt with the constant grading, digging, and on Saturday, September 16th, it was so strong that it was stronger than an earthquake. And this is all day long. And it started at 7 in the morning. 5 months now, we've been waiting for this meeting that you're supposed to be having, and it hasn't happened. So I'm here to ask you to please consider us. The lack of consideration for property right next to this, I feel has not been there. And that's pretty much it. I'll be more prepared October 3rd. It comes before you then, but please, 28 is a little much. I understand with a PUD overlay, you don't have to put in sidewalks. So that way he can get cram as many in there as possible. And I don't want to be collateral damage. I don't know what this is doing to my home. And it, you know, annoying and loud is one thing, but whenever feels like you're shaking off of our foundation, it's my concern. That's my biggest concern now, not drainage. It's that. So, is that a minute?
I can speak to that briefly as an employee here. I know that I believe we did send out notice for the meeting yesterday, and it's unfortunate you weren't able to be there. It will be heard on the 3rd. If there's damage caused to your property by the contractor's activities, the contractor's going to be
living with that has been horrible. And then if it's going to be like it was Saturday, what was it he was using on the ground?
It was a
Vibratory compactor.
Stabilization on the house pad. My property's 5 feet from that property line, and they're doing this 10 feet, 15 feet, you know, all down my property.
I believe they're preparing to put in infrastructure is what they're doing. And I realize it's a problem for you.
Yeah.
They have followed the processes at the city so far.
On the application, it says townhouses, but you keep saying duplexes. What is that?
And I'm not wanting to get in a dialogue with you right now, but I'm happy to stay with Scott afterwards, and we'll talk to you and try to explain as best we can. I know we've worked quite a bit, and we'll continue to work with you to try to get you information. And I haven't been out there to see what's going on, but we may go take a look because I've read you have made me aware that there's whatever work they're doing now has caused your house to have tremors.
Yeah. to say the least. I've never felt an earthquake like this, and for one to last this long, and this was all day long. So I wanted to tell you, I mean, maybe 50 to 100 earthquakes all day, starting at 7. We were woke up that way on a Saturday, which I had no difference, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, it's still happening. But there's no consideration whatsoever. And your ordinances are not written for people like me. They're just not. I mean, if you wrote them after cities and towns, it would be, because that's one of the things you have to do, is consider us. But you don't.
We'll visit
have
with you
to.
after the meeting and do our best. That developer has a right to develop that property.
Oh, yeah.
But they have to do it within the
But
regulation.
I have rights too. I mean,
You do.
And Mayor?
It is under construction.
Time, I'll give her more time. Just want to let you know.
I don't think I can stay up here much longer, to be honest.
But I'm willing to give you that more
I
time,
appreciate that. I do.
Because your voice needs to be heard.
If you have any questions for me, I can answer them, but we've been dealing with this for 5 months and it's getting worse. But I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bless you. Item number 15, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion
Second.
and a second. We are all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. What is in it?